All right, so now that I actually have a full-time job, as most of you guys know, if you don't, I've recently transitioned from becoming purely a self-taught dev to securing my first full-time role as a developer support engineer. And a lot of my time has been occupied in terms of actually just learning what it is that pertains to my role, which in turn leaves me less time to study some of the other things that I may want to learn in terms of new languages and or frameworks, which a lot of those things I still want to dip my hands into. That being said, I still do want to learn new things and stick on the self-taught route even if I'm employed full-time. Even if my full-time job is my priority currently, I don't feel like it should stop me from learning new things and improving on the current skill set that I have right now. So let's get into some of the ways that I'm going to continue to use in order to grow while employed. Before we move on in the video, I just want to let you guys know that this video is being sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of online classes that you can take right now in order to explore new passions, expand on a new skill, or just learn something new that you've been thinking of doing in the new year. Things like photography, videography, video editing, even coding. You have all kinds of classes that you can go on there right now and actually learn starting today. One course that I've actually been following recently, as some of you guys know that I've been doing, is a Shopify theme development course from Christopher Dodd. I've been going through it, looking through a lot of his lessons, and actually it's a really awesome course for what I'm doing right now, learning Shopify development. So it's been an awesome experience for me to just go through it and learn a new skill for something that I'm actually going to be applying in the real world. The platform is curated specifically for learning, so that means there are no ads, and they're always launching premium classes online. Whether it's desktop or mobile, you can literally stay active and follow those classes wherever you are, whether you're on the go or at home. And the best part is it's less than $10 a month for an annual subscription. So if you guys are interested, the first 1,000 of my subscribers can click the link in the description below, and then you guys can get a free trial of a premium membership to explore your creativity. And with that being said, let's get back to the video. So I'm thinking this way is going to be a separate YouTube video, and if you guys want me to touch a little bit more on this, then let me know down in the comments. But the first way that I think I'm going to use is scheduling time specifically made for learning something new outside of the normal 9 to 5. Let me touch on that a little bit, but so I work from 9 to 5 essentially. That could be 7 to 4 or whatever it is, but essentially 8 hours a day. Now, outside of that time, I want to schedule and make sure that, hey, if I'm working 9 to 5, I have from 6 to 8, those times are specifically allocated to learning something new. If I'm learning TypeScript after my 9 to 5, I'm hopping offline and I'm going straight into learning TypeScript and doing stuff with that. Obviously, these times are going to vary depending on the schedule, what happens during that day, but you kind of get the gist of what I'm getting at here, is that, time chunking and scheduling is going to become very important here when it comes to wanting to learn new things, because with a 9 to 5, obviously your time is very occupied, right? So setting aside some time, whether it be during the week or only on the weekends, purely up to you in terms of how you want to schedule that. But again, if you want me to touch on this a little bit more on the scheduling side of things, let me know down in the comments below. Another way that I'm going to be using in order to grow more in terms of my skill set is sticking to digestible resources. And what do I mean by that? I've done videos in the past about coding resources and what I think are beneficial. Having used multiple platforms now, I know which ones work for me. There are going to be different ones that work for you in terms of everyone has their different ways of learning and what really clicks in their mind. For me specifically, I'm going to be sticking to certain platforms in order to continue growing. Those being Udemy, YouTube, and Codecademy. Those 3 resources right there, I already know I digest very, very well and actually retain a lot of knowledge from. The way that they teach, and with YouTube and Udemy, obviously those are iffy depending on the individual, just because there are different instructors or professors, whatever you want to call them, on those platforms. I know mine specifically that I actually learned the best from, so I can pick from that specific pool when it pertains to Udemy and YouTube. But on the Codecademy side of things, their syllabus, their course, their structure, I retain a lot of knowledge in that form, and it's actually easy for me to use their platform since it's web browser based. There is no videos, it's purely just text and coding, so that actually helps me the most when it comes to learning something new. And that brings me to you as the coder. If you are looking for something in order to grow more, I would definitely recommend just sticking to certain platforms and or resources to utilize while you're learning as well, because having more than maybe 3 resources is honestly counterintuitive. In my opinion, it could be different for you, but having so much can become overwhelming, and I would just suggest sticking and narrowing down those amount of resources in order for you to really just continue growing. And it's gonna help because you only have to rely on certain resources, and it's not like you looking through like 6 different books, for example, in order to get one concept down. So those are gonna be my tips there, but that's what I'm gonna be utilizing, those platforms specifically. I honestly think this one right here is gonna be one of the most important ones, and that's maintaining an amount of discipline to build side projects. Along with learning new languages / frameworks, it's very important to be building projects with newfound knowledge. It's realistically the only way you can actually hone in on the new knowledge that you've attained through, you know, let's just bring up Codecademy, for example. If I'm learning TypeScript, I can't really like practically use what it is I've learned from that platform if I haven't built something with TypeScript, right? So that's going to be the biggest one here, and that's the one that I really push to new devs, is building things with whatever it is you're learning. If you're learning vanilla JavaScript, you need to be building projects with vanilla JavaScript in order to really use that knowledge in a practical sense. And that's the big thing here, is practicality is huge here. Building things is honestly the only way for you to grow as a dev. So, you know, the tutorials are great. You know, those courses that you're taking are awesome. You get to build projects within them, but building your own projects with whatever language or framework that you're currently learning is more important. Having the discipline to really just bootstrap up a new project and get moving on it. Whatever idea pops up in your mind, it really doesn't even have to be an original idea. If you see an idea out there or some sort of app out there that you really like or think is very interesting, go build it. Go build a replication of it. Yeah, there's a bunch of online articles of people rebuilding Instagram or rebuilding Facebook or Reddit, some big websites that we all know and love, and those are really cool projects. They're really drawn out because of how big they are or can be. So, you know, don't spend too much time thinking about a project. Go online. There's a bunch of GitHub repos for you to find projects to make. Find one that interests you the most and just go build it, right? A lot of it doesn't have to be from scratch, but as long as you're utilizing the knowledge and you know what's going into your app and what code you're writing, then that's that bacon, eggs, and cheese right there, right? Like that's what you need in order to grow and really solidify whatever it is you've learned. If you don't build anything, well, then you know how to take tutorials really well, but if I'm a hiring manager, do I know that you can actually build something if you don't have side projects behind you? So maintaining an amount of discipline in order to build side projects is something that's going to be huge in terms of my growth while I'm fully employed right now, and taking some off time to build side projects, that's honestly the bread and butter right there when it comes to growth. So that means, you know, maybe on my breaks or on off time after work, on the weekends, I'm gonna be spending a lot of time on side projects. And again, if you guys want me to go through a separate video of this, which I think I will, just let me know down in the comments whether or not you want to see what kind of side projects I'm personally going to be working on off on the side on my own time. Also, remember that if you are going to be following these side projects do not need to, you know, be fully complete. If you want to go for an MVP of something or of an idea that you've got, then go for it. As long as you make something, right? It doesn't always have to be done, because a lot of the times you'll do side projects and I feel like you just won't complete them, or they will never be complete. But as long as you have a working product or something that looks really nice and still works and functions, well, then you can always go back and one up it or make it better, right? All you have to do is stop thinking in code. There's that refactoring, that's a concept that comes into play afterwards, right? You can just pseudocode something, or you can just, again, make something an MVP. It doesn't have to be beautiful in terms of the code. You can always go back and refactor, right? There's always a way to clean things up. So just remember that, keep that in mind. Don't stress out about it. Nothing great has ever been done on the first try. Just remember that when you're making your projects, don't stress out about it. Eventually you'll come to a product where you're happy and content with. With all these put together, those are the ways that I'm going to be using in order to continue to grow and increase my skill set as I'm going through this full-time position. I don't want to stay stagnant. I want to continue to learn new skills and advance in my career. Although yes, I will still be learning on my full-time job, I still do feel like I need to level up and learn new things in order to become a better developer, because, you know, learning is part of our jobs. Whether you're employed or not, as a dev, we're constantly learning new things. I just feel like I want to be on top of it. I want to be learning new things anyways, so this is what I'm going to be doing in order to do that. Whether you believe it or or not, there's always more that you can do, and you know, obviously don't overload your plate. I'm gonna make sure that I don't put too much on myself and to put too much stress or pressure on myself, but I still think that I can level up and be better than myself than I was yesterday, right? I just want to level up. Addicted to learning. This coding thing really got me on a hook, right? Like, I just love learning new technologies, so that's why I'm pushing myself to kind of just learn more. Even if I've already secured my first full-time job, I still need to keep going. I still need to keep leveling up so that my career can keep advancing, and I don't want to ever plateau, and I don't want to stay, again, just stagnant. I want to keep moving. But anyways, that's how I'm going to be keeping up on my self-taught journey while working a full-time job. If you guys have any questions or other tips that you'd like to share that you're utilizing as well to keep growing while I'm fully employed, well, then hit us down in the comments as well and share your thoughts. But other than that, I'm going to see you guys on the next video. Peace.